How are you, Lana?
Doing well. I'm so happy to be here.
That is awesome. We already have people saying good morning to us. Those of you that do not know who I am Michelle with Reflecting Back with Michelle podcast. And I have the wonderful Lana with me. And she's going to tell us all about herself. And let's just get right into it. How are you doing?
I'm doing so good. I actually just got back from a trip to Canada, so I'm kind of
Mhm.
recuperating a little bit, but doing really good. Ready to kind of get the ball rolling on 2024.
What does 2024 look like for you?
I can see now, looking back, how all of the dots have kind of connected over time. When I was about 7, my mom and dad took me to Graceland for the first time, and I had this
Mhm.
little bitty Barbie camera. It was just this little plastic thing, and of course,
Sure.
captured the whole trip. But then I put it down, and I never really thought about it until the next
Mhm.
trip and the next trip. But what I would do is I loved to read magazines, particularly fashion magazines.
Mhm.
And I would rip out the advertisements and I would make murals and I would put them on my wall. But it really wasn't until about 2013 when I went through some difficulties in my life. And I just decided, you know what, I am going to leave everything behind for a while and I'm going to sell my possessions and I'm going to go to Europe.
Like, can you tell a little bit about? You said that you're going through a rough time. Is Can you share, something that you're willing to share, and then kind of how it transitioned to you going to Europe and finding yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. I actually moved from Canada to the United States for a relationship. And that relationship did not turn out to be what I expected when I moved here. So I found
Mhm.
myself in a new country where, I had some friends, but I didn't have any family. I was very much alone and found myself going, this is a new beginning. What am I going to do with this? Um, I remember waking up one day and I was really down and I just felt, which is weird because I hadn't really been going to church at this point, but I just heard God say to me, you have two choices. You can either lay in bed and feel sorry for yourself, and you can lay here all day if you want to, or you can get up and you can find somebody to pray with you. And I
Mm.
just, for the very first time in my life, I felt called. I felt like something was speaking to me. And so I did. I went out and I found someone to pray with me. It was very difficult because it was the 4th of
Mm.
July. My whole life fell apart on the 4th of July.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
but I did. I found this one minister who came and prayed with me.
Just feel like, how'd you find them?
I just called different churches until I finally got somebody
Okay.
on the phone.
Mm.
And him and his
Neat.
wife, I just remember they both came out and we sat at these picnic benches and it brought me so much comfort. And I kind of knew that I had started on this path and there was no going back.
Wow. Wow. And what was some of that person's, like, words of encouragement that kind of put you on the right path?
It was just having somebody to really listen and
Mm.
understand and kind of guide me. I mean, up until that point, I had never owned a Bible. I actually would say to people that I didn't believe in Jesus. And
Mhm.
so, he really taught me as much as he could in that very brief encounter. Um, he really was like a representation of Christ to me.
Mm.
Um,
Wow.
and
Did you?
after that, I ended up moving away for a little while. And that was another place where I really kind of sunk into that comfort of
Mhm.
learning who God was and really seeking the church and reading the Bible and kind of
Mm.
having that little period of hibernation and healing, kind of to
Mhm.
do something different, away from everything that I was familiar with.
Mm, that's good. Did you consider yourself an atheist or agnostic, or you just didn't believe?
I think I was more of an agnostic. I would say at the time that I believed in God, but I did not believe in Jesus.
Okay, interesting. Gotcha. So you went to Europe
Mhm.
and talk to us about Europe and how you got your camera out and some of your first photos that you took.
So I was really influenced by the architecture in particular. There's something just so beautiful about all of the detail and the tradition, and there's also something very romantic in it. And I think I previously mentioned to you that I have a background in theater.
Hmm.
And so, Europe to me is very theatrical, it's very
Mm.
romantic. You know, so I was really influenced by the architecture in particular. There's something just so beautiful about all of the detail and the tradition, and there's also something very romantic in it. And I think I previously mentioned to you that I have a background in theater.
Hmm.
And so, Europe to me is very theatrical, it's very
Mm.
romantic. The emotion in someone's eyes, to their body language, to how they interact with one another, what's in the background. So, in a way, you're really setting the stage for a play, so to speak.
Mm. So can you tell us a little bit about these starting from the left, like this couple here
Mhm.
and how you blurred the back? Tell us a little bit about that.
Absolutely. So, the couple on the left was actually a wedding that I recently did at Finley Farms. They were the sweetest couple.
Mm.
What's interesting about this particular picture is that it was actually raining, which you can't
Mm.
tell at all. They were such troopers about it. We went out, we got it done very quickly. Um,
Mm.
this is one of my favorite moments for brides and grooms. So you've gotten married, you're at your reception, you're talking to people, maybe you want a little break. And so that's the time where I kind of pull the bride and the groom away for about 15 minutes and we go and do sunset pictures.
Mm. Okay.
It's always such a lovely break for them. And you get like the most dynamic photos as well. The lighting's perfect, nobody else is around. It's a really good little private moment for the two of them. I had been working pretty heavily with training new models that were wanting to sign on to the agency. And
Okay.
so these two girls, other than Kara, they were both involved with Boost. And we actually put it together at a wedding venue called Juniper Gardens. And
Mm.
so, I had this idea or this dream of making it a picnic theme. And I really wanted to incorporate a lot of feminine, very girly colors. One of our girls, she actually runs a boutique. And so she kind of supplied all of the dresses for us. But we really wanted to go with kind of like that bohemian autumn, kind of just women
Mm.
enjoying each other's company, capturing more natural moments, but still with that kind of magazine editorial feel.
Mm.
Very important to make sure that you have those background details dialed in because if you're wanting to highlight a particular place, you're
Mm.
not wanting that background to be completely dark where you can't really see the details of, where you
Hmm.
are or what's going on.
Super cool. So what are you currently working on?
So this year is going to be a little bit of a pivot for me. Obviously, I'm still leaning heavily into servicing my wedding clients and my families. I'm going to be doing some more traveling. I have a wedding in Mexico this summer. So, kind of hoping to pick up more of those destination weddings. It's
Okay.
also going to be a different year because my husband and I would like to start a family. So
Mm.
I'm kind of
Fun.
shifting gears because, up until this point, this business has really been my baby. So morning to
Mm.
night, when you own your own business, you are go, 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 but you love it. It's so rewarding. It's also, it's very healing. And, if
Mm-hmm.
you're having a hard day, if something's bothering you, you have a creative outlet that you can pour into. It's also connected me with so many different people in the community. Every time I'm going to do a shoot, I always pray before I go. And I say, like, God, please help me to be a blessing to these people. Help me to take good photos. So yeah, I mean, that's kind of where my heart is at, is to continue
Mhm.
kind of down this path and continue scaling it. Um,
Mhm.
I would say I've become very entrepreneurial over the years. Definitely have a growth mindset, and I love scaling something and watching it grow and flourish. And I want to
Mm.
encourage other people to do the same. And something
Mhm.
that really stuck in my mind this morning that I feel like you all need to know is that you cannot experience growth if you're in your comfort zone. And
Mm.
you can do something and move forward and still be uncomfortable and still be afraid. You can still take action even when you're feeling that way. Um, but the thing of it is, you're going to be uncomfortable either way. If you don't
Yeah.
act, you're going to regret it. You're going to be thinking about it. You're going to be uncomfortable. But if you do act, you'll be uncomfortable, but at least you will be moving towards your goal. You'll be moving forward. And it really is consistency that's going to get you forward.
Mhm.
It's not
Mhm.
going to happen overnight. As much as we all want to be successful overnight, that's not how
Mhm.
you get there.
What would be your tips in how you scaled that successfully?
So I would say you want to be competitive with your pricing. So you want to examine what your peers in the area are doing. If you're a beginner photographer, you're obviously not going to want to put your prices where a seasoned photographer would be. You'll probably want to charge less, just
Okay.
until you kind of, get your photos kind of up to the quality that they need to be at to charge those bigger prices. So practice,
Mhm.
practice, practice for sure. And you also need to have a value added to everything that you provide. Be very customer service based, and just really try to provide as much value as you can with your packages. But I would say, really, like I was saying earlier, it is the consistency. You know, I
Mhm.
have friends who have been in this business for 12 years full time. Granted, I was
Mhm.
part time for 8 or 9 years and full time for
Mhm.
3. So,
Mhm.
they've been chipping away at it for 12 or more years. And now, the only gigs they get are for the very, very highest top weddings, the
Mhm.
biggest, 400 people luxury weddings.
Wow.
But
Mhm.
I think the problem is that too many people give up because they don't see the results after the first year or two.
Okay. That makes sense.
Great art is achieved through great pain. We all
Mm.
suffer, we all go through pain. Having God to lean on has been my saving grace during that time. It also helps to have that creative outlet. So don't be afraid of the pain. Lean into it, learn from it. Pain is the greatest teacher, and use it to better the world where you can, because we're all going to go through hard times, and it's not, what happens to you that determines or defines you. It's what you do with it and who you allow it to make
Mm.
you into.
Well, thank you so much for coming on and blessing us with all
Thank
your
you,
words of
Michelle.
wisdom. And absolutely, really, really enjoyed it. And I hope that our listeners learn something from you. And and if they're entrepreneurs, to keep pursuing their dreams. And just like you said, the thing is, don't give up.
Thank you for what you're doing and all of your beautiful write ups and all the posts that
Oh,
you've made. Like, I can really tell that your heart is in this and how hard you're working to bless the community and spread encouragement. It's very much needed.
thank you very much. That's sweet. Well, I hope you have a wonderful weekend.
You as well. Thank you for
I
having me.
will. Thank you. All right. Bye bye.